Hey everybody. So my name is Jennifer McCune, and Cathy Fluegel and I are super excited to be coming to you today to share a little bit more about Rodan+Fields and give you the skinny and let you know our story, answer some questions that maybe you have, answer some questions maybe you don't even know you had, and just talk to you about our journey and kind of some of the questions that we had along the way. So I'm going to start first and share my story, and then Cathy's going to share her story, and we're just going to share a little bit more and have a little bit fun, short and sweet, and answer any questions you guys might have. So again, my name is Jennifer McCune. I live in Charlottesville, Virginia, and I started Rodan+Fields May 25th, 2012, so just almost exactly 8 years ago. And I learned about Rodan+Fields on LinkedIn. And at the time, I was working full-time. I was also taking night classes, and my kids were 5, 8, and 10. And the reason I was looking for something is, frankly, as much as I liked my job, I felt like I was getting into this rut of waiting for lunchtime, waiting for dinner time, working to wait for Friday, working to hope Monday wouldn't come too fast, and then thinking, gosh, is this how I want my life to look? I also wanted to have some really extra spending money. I wanted to take the kids to Disney. I know that seems so weird now because we haven't been able to travel for a few months, but you know, in real life, we want to be able to live life, and I didn't want to feel like I was strapped for cash. And so I was really thinking about a way that I could have some extra opportunities for income and that I could start building something. I also wanted to start building something for the future and not have to worry about my retirement. So I learned about this on LinkedIn. Within 2 days, I enrolled. I was thinking, oh my gosh, these women created Proactive. They also were partnered with Estee Lauder. They also, with this brand, were #1 in Nordstrom. And I'm like, holy crap, I can partner with them now instead of Nordstrom? Like, that's amazing. What an incredible opportunity. And what's not to love? I have skin. I'd love to get the best deal on the skincare. I'd love to get a tax write-off. And I figured it would be a great educational entrepreneurial opportunity. So I hopped on board. Fortunately, I did within 9 months. Culture and language training, which is what I was doing at the time, was downsized. And so my job was eliminated. So what had been my plan B became my plan A. And, you know, fast forward 2 years, I didn't even have to find any other supplementary income sources. It became really such an amazing thing. And I was laughing with somebody on Friday. I was able to sleep till 9:30. I don't need an alarm clock. Like, my boss lets me work when I want to work. How freeing is that, right? So it's been really an incredible journey. So Cathy, why don't you share what your life looked like and share a little bit about your story, please?
Yeah, well, I had a similar spark that you had in terms of seeing who this company was, and I was introduced to Rodan+Fields by a friend of mine. And at the time, I had 2 boys in elementary school, and I was a burned out PTA volunteer. So I really liked being part of that community and helping with the bottom line of the school, but was taking too much on, and my oldest was about to move into a much bigger public school, and I did not want to take that on. And I just thought, gosh, what am I going to do when these kids are gone? And I don't want to be a volunteer forever. And how am I going to have something for myself? And how do I define myself outside of parenthood? Right. And so when I was introduced to this, what I recognized was the branding. And this is, a company that's founded by 2 of the most well-respected doctors and female entrepreneurs in the world. They'd already created a $1 billion brand, and they were going to give me the opportunity, right? Just like you were saying, they're going to give me the opportunity to create something for myself in part-time flexible hours. So, so I could do this around my kid's schedule, but maybe, just maybe, I could create something for myself and for our household finances. I thought, gosh, what if I could contribute as a stay-at-home mom? I hadn't been contributing financially for a long time. So I committed to very part-time hours alongside my other current commitments, fitting stuff in here and there. Within a couple of months, I paid myself back, my initial investment back, and earned a little bit of a profit. Within the next year, I started to pay our mortgage and start a vacation fund, which we never had. So that elementary school that I was doing the PTA for, it was a small private school. So our money, extra money, had gone to tuition. And so a couple of years after that, my husband's business took an abrupt and unexpected downturn. And my income was able to cover those gaps and give us a plan B that we really never knew that we would need. And we're very thankful for at the time. And of course, ultimately, this many years later, what I did was I created time for myself and choices, financial choices that were absolutely not present. And we would have really scrambled otherwise. And so what I still love to do is help other people with their skin and create more options for other people as well. So, and I had a little more time to do that. So I want to ask you, Jennifer, like when you rattle off all of the things that was going on in your life when you looked at Rodan+Fields, I mean, 3 kids, a full-time job, other classes, you didn't know your job was going to get downsized, right? So surely you wanted to see your friends and family and have date night and go to the gym and binge Netflix. Like, how did you fit this in? Like, how did you even think, oh, sure, I'm going to add something more to my plate?
So one thing that I decided to do is take my lunch back, or my lunch hour back. At the time, I just was putting all these hours over and over into my job, and I wasn't getting paid for it. So I made a huge concerted effort that every day on my lunch hour, I only took half an hour, but that I would work my Rodan+Fields business. My job wasn't paying me for it. I also made a concerted effort on the way to work. I would listen to a training or some positive thing. And then I really thought about it, and I was like, I have this big vision of how I want my life to look, and I don't want to work my life away. I want to live my life. And if I can do a little bit every day, that can make a huge difference. It's just like I decided with anything, that compound effect is huge. I don't have to work 8 hours today, but if I do 10 minutes now and 10 minutes later, it will all add up. It's just like working out. I don't need to work out 8 hours a day to be in shape. But if I do a teeny bit every single day, it's going to add up. And so what I would do is on Sunday afternoons, I would look at my schedule for the week, and I would carve in very purposeful nooks and crannies and just say, my future life depends on doing a little bit every day, and this is worth it. And so that became more of a priority to me than binge watching Netflix or other things.
Right.
So, and all of that, one of the questions when I think about your story, and a question that people ask me on top of the time, is that whole S word, that evil S word, sales. So when you tell me about your background, you were doing PTA volunteering. Do you feel like you had any sales experience, or that's what we actually do that would have been beneficial to you?
Yeah, not at all. I didn't have any sales experience.
You're so
I
blunt.
mean,
I love it.
I had no, like, I thought I was worried about that. I had the same question, but what I mean is not at all had any of that experience, right? So I have an environmental science degree and did research, and then worked for a software company briefly before my oldest was born, and then I stopped working. So, one of my biggest concerns was, would I be good at this?
Right.
Like, would I be able to succeed without sales experience, And would people take me seriously? Like, who are you to start a business, right? Not being a businesswoman. And we get this question a lot, is like, I don't want to be that girl, right? Like, what does that mean? It's like, I didn't want people rolling their windows up at carpool pickup line school because they wanted to avoid me trying to sell them something, right? And so, but what I found was that I'm not that person anyway, right? My personality isn't going to change just because I decided to make a choice for myself and do something else for myself, right? So I found that what I had in my hands was something really exciting and really awesome to share. The products were changing my skin. I was excited to have a new adventure, and people were really supportive. They weren't they weren't worried. They were excited for me.
Right.
And it turns out skincare is a really huge industry, right? And so people were also genuinely interested in, well, wait a second, what could this do for me? And you're my friend, so of course I want to talk to you about this, right? So it's something, when you find something you're passionate about and you want to share it with people, that doesn't it doesn't require, you can learn the sales skills. It doesn't require you to be an annoying weird person, right? And that was my perception is, oh, I don't know, I'm not a sales girl. Well, good thing, because I don't have to be, right?
Right. And I
Yeah.
think that was a big, huge thing when I learned about this. That was the first question that I asked was, is this sales? Because I'm not into sales. And
Yeah.
what I was told by the person with whom I had my initial conversation was, this is sharing. You invite people to learn more, you educate them. If they're interested, you answer their questions. And if they're not, maybe they have a referral, whatever. But it's like you said, it's an exciting thing, and it's sharing that with people. So I want to ask you a follow-up question, because you just laid out this vision of, it sounds like you have a huge network and know a ton of people. And from what I know of you, you're like me, a little bit more, we can be an introvert at the end of the day and be happy to, be home and not be out of all hours. So is that, I haven't found that to be an issue. Have you found that to be an issue at all of being successful with this business?
I haven't. And I'm similar. You're right. I'm similar to you. I think I'm probably even more of an introvert than you are. You at least make a much better attempt to make a new friend in a new situation. I would much rather hide with you in the corner. But I like, I'll talk your ear off all night long. It's not that I'm so shy. It's that I would just prefer the one-on-one stuff than the big crowd stuff. It's just how I am. So I I was worried that that would be a detriment for me, because the person who introduced me to Rodan+Fields is a very successful businesswoman and had a massive network with and a very extroverted personality. And I thought,
Right,
well, I'm not her. I can't
right,
be her,
right,
right? And so, but really, what my experience has shown me, that what really matters is that we all connect with people in different ways. And if you're connecting with somebody, if you're connecting in a way that is authentic to you, that's what matters. That's what we've got all kinds of personalities in this business, and it's one of the really great things about the community of Rodan+Fields is it isn't one background or one type of person or one personality that gets the job done. It's, everyone has their different authentic way of connecting, and that's really what we need to succeed, is just to be ourselves.
right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and speaking of connecting with people, so you and I have been in this business a long time. You said it was just your 8-year anniversary, right? So I've been doing this about 9.5 years. I joined in October of 2010. So we've both been in this business a long time and have talked to a lot of people. So it's often the case that people don't have $1,000 burned in a hole in their pocket saying, I was born to start a skincare business, right? But I think both of us can relate to that. So with a bunch of kids in night classes, you had some bills to pay at the time. So you found out about this and you jumped in within 48 hours. And so talk to me about that. Like, how does that work?
So for me, I looked at it as an investment, and I had been thinking of different ways of doing different things in my life, and really thinking about building residual and passive income streams. I thought about taking more classes, about getting my MBA, about getting my
Yeah.
law degree, and I was looking at the cost return on investment, weighing out the benefits. And when I learned about Rodan+Fields, first of all, $1,000 to start a business is nothing. If you look at bricks and mortar franchises, if you
Yeah.
look at any other business, most of the time, even with rent and utilities or employees or anything, you're going to spend more than that in a month. So
Right.
I loved that. Not only was that allowing me to start a business, but it was also getting me over $2,000 worth of products. So I'm like, wow, I love a good deal. So that's fantastic. I can totally handle a good deal. Plus, it was a tax write-off. So I figured what it was going to cost me to run my business in a year was much cheaper than any other option. And it just made sense to me that I'm like, I'm putting it on my credit card and I'm going to be coachable. And like you mentioned, I was profitable within my first 30 days. That's on top of my kit money because that's just what I was going to do. Right. So I also looked at it as free entrepreneurial training. The skincare I'm paying for, but then I get that whole entrepreneurial education, our whole
Oh yeah.
as you earn model. And my night classes were $1,000 each. And I'm like, I'm just getting a little checkbox for that. I'm not getting a business in a box with all this tremendous support. So it made complete sense to me. And there was just no reason not to. And yeah, it was amazing. And the other thing for me is, people will ask, they're like, well, did you try the products first? I'm like, I just didn't even need to because this was going to get me everything. And I knew I was going to love at least some of it. I love all of it. But I was like, this is the cheapest way to try all of it and start the business. And we offer a 60-day money back guarantee no matter how you get the products. So why would I buy them twice? Why would I buy them at the higher price as a preferred customer? Why wouldn't I just get the kit? So that's just what worked out for me. Yeah. So, and I think you did the same thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I didn't worry about the products because I actually had no skincare background, which so I was like, who am I? Like these are world-class dermatologists. Like I'm not going to question this, right? Something in this box will work for me.
Right. Right.
So and I was so glad it turns out that I did have everything because I've got a family of 4 people, so we're all using the products, and I got it at a much bigger discount, but also just to really be able to quickly understand
Yes.
not only the integrity of the products, but how they work, right? And how diverse they are for everybody's skin. I wouldn't have understood that if I was trying to piecemeal things together and then think about the business. I just was like, let's just do this. I already trusted this brand. So I wasn't going to question that part. And I love what you said about just getting an entrepreneurial education on top of a tax write-off, on top of a business in a box. Like I didn't think about it that way. But that's so true. Like we have gotten this education without having to go back to business school, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was the whole big thing for me, and leads into my next question to you is, for me, I love that it was a whole learn as you earn. Everything's laid out of what we need to do. It's a turnkey business. So another big question that we get, I think it would be helpful for you to share, is what do you do? What do you actually do? What would it look like if I wanted to do this?
Yeah. And I think it's so important because I think as consultants with this company, especially those of us who have been doing this a long time, we know what we do. And so we end up talking a lot about, well, here's what the products do. Here's the operational support you get from Rodan+Fields. Here's what your websites look like. They handle this. They handle the back end. They handle the returns and the shipments and the money and the sales tax. Great. That all sounds amazing. So what do you do? Right. And so it really boils down to, there's so many tools in our tool belts, right? We have a really incredible support system and a proven success, training system, our own little Rodan+Fields business school, if you will, right? That sort of helps us understand, especially for people that don't come from a business or a sales background. We learn those skills, we're taught those skills, and we have all these tools to use. We have social media, we have samples, we have events like this. As a brand new consultant, you don't have to know what we're saying. You can just join in on the team side, right? And invite your guests to do exactly what we're doing today. We have, I know you're in this is you as well. I'm involved in a lot of small business women's groups in town that now are all online, but we're able to connect with other business owners and really work to build a referral network, social media, like I talked about. And it's just referrals make the world go round. And so when people send you a text that says, holy crap, I can't believe my skin, well, they start to tell their friends. So really, what do we do every day? Is we're talking to people, we're connecting with people, and giving them the opportunity to find out, where do they fit in this business? Do they want to buy products? Do they want to check out the business? Or are they so excited for their sister to give us a call and talk about the business, right? So it really is boiling down to wash, rinse, repeat in connecting and offering what we have to offer, and then letting Rodan+Fields do the back end side, right? This whole system of support. So, and nobody really figures it out on their own. And I'm sure you can agree that that was your experience as well.
100%. I'll share, when I started, I was very nervous about all of that. My network wasn't very big either. I had been sitting in an office with 3 people and then would come home to my 3 kids. And, so I realized I needed to start reaching out and reconnecting with people that I had lost touch with because of being a mom, a full-time working mom, and then also expanding my network. And so again, I just did a little bit every day. My sponsor, the person who enrolled me, helped me find my authentic voice and have conversations with people just a little bit every day. But I was very nervous.
Yeah, me too.
I moved forward anyways and just gave myself baby steps, gave myself grace, and followed the system. Now we have such incredible resources with corporate offers us this whole tool called Rodan+Fields Virtual, which has great onboarding videos to help us learn, educational videos. We have team support. We have opportunities like this for people to tune in, which, if you think about it, it's not only about guests tuning in, but when you're doing your business, it's educational opportunities for you. So it's that whole abundant, supportive community Cathy and I are, quote unquote cousins. We're not even on the same paid team of each other, but we've met on some of these incredible trips that you might have seen in the pictures. And it's just an abundant collaborative community of women empowering women, which has been one of the hugest benefits for me as well. These incredible relationships, and then expanding my network, which has been good for me personally as well. That whole personal development piece that I didn't even know. In traditional educational models, we don't learn that we should be developing ourselves and growing ourselves. Wow, what a concept, right? So that's really, that is hugely life-changing, on top of the flexibility and different income levels. It's highly life-changing.
Yeah, I so agree with that. And it's interesting because I feel like as adults, we don't do new things that often, right? Like, unless you're sort of in a situation where you're choosing to go back to school, or you have a crisis happen, or something happens where you're forced into a situation to grow and change, we don't usually choose it, right? Because it's scary. Yeah. And so, this business really in a lot of ways is a leap of faith, because we don't quite get it until we're doing it. And then all these layers that we're talking about, I came into it because I wanted something for myself and a few dollars, but I found a community of friends that I now could never live without. I got this personal growth that you're talking about, right? All of these things, but we have to sort of work through take that jump and work through that fear, because we aren't going to really quite get this until we start doing it. Right. So,
right.
And I think it's important that everyone understand, in a down economy, skincare is big business always. But in a down economy, it's really important to understand that certain industries do really, really well. There was a study recently that the top things that people buy during hard times, men buy underwear and women buy makeup and skincare.
Nice.
And who knows what the underwear thing is about, but
it's funny. I made my first Target run today can't tell you how long I've been to Target, mask and everything. But
Yeah,
my husband needed underwear.
right. Right. And pretty much everyone needs alcohol.
Yeah,
I heard a statistic that said alcohol sales are up 58% right now. So,
I'm sure.
yeah. So, all joking aside, I think it's important to recognize the opportunity moving forward, and what's really in your hands is, Jennifer and I were you and I are both looking at this 8-10 years ago, about, well, what's the opportunity in our hands, right? And we have a big still opportunity in our hands with Rodan+Fields. This is a known brand, right? We've got the company has an entire business plan for growth. They're not just floating in the breeze, hoping and praying. They've got a whole business plan. They've got product launching. They've got products in research and development going out for 5 years. We're opening Japan in 2 days, actually tomorrow, Japan time will
Right.
be June 1st, right? So, and a really big plan for growth. So, there's a million reasons why people decide to start a business with us. And I think the important piece of this is that it's not just about prosperity. I mean, prosperity can obviously be a vehicle, right, to make change in your family, but it's about purpose. It's about choices. It's about what I was saying, where you have a plan B in place that you never in a million years thought you would need,
Right.
or paying for summer camp, or daycare, or adding to that vacation fund, or having a nicer bottle of wine with dinner whenever we can finally go out to dinner again, right? And the shoes that keep up showing up on my Facebook feed, like, just small to big things that, the choices that people get to make, private college, out of state school, right? You're looking at that right now. So all kinds of ways for people to, affect change for themselves. And it's really about choices, about helping a friend in need, putting your money towards causes that are near and dear to your heart. So, while we talk about what it's done for us personally, I think that's a really big piece. And then making choices, and that's ultimately all about owning your own time. So, if you have anything to add to that, Jennifer, I think this has been a really great little chit chat to talk about a little more about exactly what we do and why we do it.
Absolutely. And I would just add, it's also helping other people make those choices. I think some of the most memorable things for both of us have been not only what it's enabled our families to do, but when we hear from people that their child can walk out the door with so much more confidence because Spotless had made a difference, or their paycheck is enabling their children to take dance classes or do soccer that they couldn't do before. Some of these things that we're truly helping people in such a meaningful way. Skincare really matters to people. It's totally confidence building, and having a little extra breathing room in those options that you mentioned is huge. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm going to stop the recording now.